On behalf of the Sustainability Reporting Standard Board of ICAI, I, Jyoti Singh, extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 21 session of our webinar series, Demystifying Sustainability Catalyzing Growth. Today's session is centered around a critical theme, net zero commitments, strategies, challenges, and Indian case studies. We are honored to have with us our esteemed speaker, Dr. Vinita Apteji, and our moderator for today, CA Chandani Chindan Dedia ji and CA Dimple Kunal Bogri ji. Let us now begin. I would like to invite CA Chandani ji to kindly take the session forward.
Let me quickly introduce you to today's speaker, Dr. Vinita.
Your voice is not clear, ma'am.
Today's speaker, Dr. Vinita Apteji. She is the founder director of Air Policy Center, an NGO driven by the motto to think is good but to act is better. Known for her innovative out-of-approach box, she has spread over 21 policy projects on high ranges through the PPP model and implemented impactful initiatives in environmental education, social energy, grassroots innovation awards, and rural movement empowerment. She launched India's first online environmental Olympiad, promoting early age awareness and supporting digital media. Under her leadership, Terry has focused strongly on women and youth empowerment. Dr. Apteji has also served as a communication expert at the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, in Paris, leading diverse international teams and forging important partnerships with governments, NGOs, and global organizations. She has facilitated sustainability-led programs in World Natural Heritage Sites and is recognized for her skills in consensus building during the complex environmental negotiations. A visionary leader, she combines creative concepts with practical strategies to advance sustainability development, clean economy, CSR initiatives, and community-led conservation worldwide. Also, she has been awarded Dr. Jain Narlikar Award on his 4th anniversary and Global Leader Award for 2024.
Chandni ma'am, the technical support is saying something.
I'm in full network zone.
No, ma'am, it's very, cracking in between. So can you please switch off your video and then try?
Okay. Is it better now?
For me, I can't hear much. I don't know about the other people.
Okay. I am actually for that. So, let me just read that. Do you want me to do the introduction again?
No, ma'am. I don't know what you are trying to
Dimple
say.
ma'am, can you please take it?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me introduce you to our speaker faculty today. Dr. Vinita Apte is a founder director of Terre Policy Center, an NGO driven by the motto, to think is good, but to act is better. Known for her innovative out-of-the-box approach, she has spearheaded over 21 forestry projects on high mountain ranges through the PPP model and implemented impactful initiatives in environmental education, solar energy, grassroots innovation awards, and rural women's empowerment. She launched India's first online environmental Olympiad, promoting early age awareness and supporting digital India. Under her leadership, Tere has focused strongly on women and youth empowerment. Dr. Apte has also served as a communication expert at the United Nations Environment Program in Paris, leading diverse international teams and award-winning partnerships with governments, NGOs, and global organizations. She has facilitated sustainable livelihood programs in World Natural Heritage sites and is recognized for her skill in consensus building during complex environmental negotiations. A visionary leader, she combines creative concepts with practical strategies to advance sustainable development, green economy, CSR initiatives, and community led conservation worldwide. Also, um, she has been awarded Dr. Jayant Narlikar Award on his birth anniversary and Global Leader Award for 2024 from Sweden. We welcome you, Dr. Vinita Apte.
Thank you. Thank you, CA Dimple and CA Chandani. Thanks for the introduction. Do we immediately start with the session or anyone is going to speak? Are we going to start immediately?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so are there any participants? Those I can't see them.
this is
Hello.
the session.
Yeah, are there any participants? I can't see because this I wanted to be a little interactive session. But if they are not connected with the Zoom, I have to talk like this.
Yeah, so this is a live session. We'll have to continue this way.
No, I can't hear. Anyway, so good afternoon, those who are present for this session. It's a net zero commitments, strategies, challenges, and Indian case studies. Why we are strict, strict for the Indian case studies. Uh, eh, uh, if we have other case studies also with the worldwide case studies we have, but I wanted to be stick to the Indian case studies because we are the highly populated country. And secondly, our target of net zero commitment is 2070, which is not very far. Actually, when this net zero commitments and the rules and basically the Paris Agreement is come in force, and it was decided at a net zero targets in the Glasgow climate meeting. Everyone has set the target. China already told that we will complete it by 2030 or 2050. Some countries have come across and they say that we have to study further. We don't have especially the developed countries like USA and Switzerland. They were about to say that it's we have already doing a lot, and America, USA is already out of the Paris Agreement, so they are not ready and they have not convinced for the net zero targets. But India have come forth, and our Prime Minister said that we will be going for the net zero targets and we will complete our target till 2070. So these are the little bit scenario of starting the net zero, because when the Paris Agreement came in force in 2015, after 2 years time, every countries were presenting their agenda, and the NDCs for getting the carbon emission and the other emissions by 2.5% less. But after that, there has to be some climate fund for technology transfers, and they wanted it to be start with the new technologies which will be environment friendly. But unfortunately, in 2 years time, there was not a sufficient, not even the sufficient, but not the fund which has calculated and which has in that climate fund was not sufficient for any small technologies to transfer. So then the decision has come up, and they say that we will be reduce our emissions by 1.5. And then they started with the strategies and calculating the carbon emissions. Then they wanted, the whole world was wanted to change the technologies, and they start thinking on it. The every climate meeting, the companies have the countries have given their targets and their approaches for the net zero commitments. Next. So the overall scenario is says that net zero means reducing greenhouse gas emissions as close to zero as possible, with any remaining emissions being absorbed or removed naturally or through technologies. These commitments are crucial to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, the benchmark set by the Paris Agreement, as we need to cut emissions by approximately 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. A broad coalition comprising over 140 countries, representing around 88% of global emissions, as well as 9,000 plus companies, cities, educational institutions, and financial bodies has pledged alliance to net zero aspirations. The China already told that we will be reducing and we will complete our net zero commitments and targets till 2050, which is really impossible for the other countries and especially the India, because India have a population which has a vast extremities. There are many poor people as well as the very rich people are in India. So that challenge is very big, because the poor people, they can't afford the new technologies, they can't afford the solar energies or so. So our Prime Minister have set the target, and in Glasgow Agreement, they said, and they conclude with the Glasgow Agreement, that India will complete the net zero commitments by 2070. Next. This is this is the net zero carbon emission targets, which has done in Paris and followed by other agreements. And the inclusion criteria for net zero commitments are, definitely it's a vary from country to country. The inclusion of international aviation emissions or the acceptance of carbon offsets, to see the year for which countries have pledged to achieve net zero, however, over the country in the interactive version of this chart. See, these are the, you can easily see the self-declared is achieved in a blue. They have the countries who have pledged are here in a purple. These countries are in law, they have agreed with the carbon commitments. Then the policy documents, the large portion of the world is in the policy document. We have proposed the brown countries, the brown color countries marked here are proposed, and the other whitely, means these are the background white countries, have no data right now with us. So the global scenario is not very, we can say, not very clear, not very positive for the net zero carbon emissions targets, and which is very possible. We cannot say that we could make a net zero, especially when, if you think about a small office, that net zero can easily be possible, because if the standards set by the countries and we are applying in the official level, we are definitely, the small office is definitely completing the target for the net zero. But if you are thinking about the country wise, which is a really, really bad scenario for any of the country, and especially the large countries, developing countries are really in a big problem to complete the net zero targets. Next. So the overall, the framework of net zero commitment strategies is the nations are submitting long-term law emissions development strategies to the UNFCCC. UNFCCC for every climate meeting, every country is giving their the whole year's data, that how they have worked for low carbon emission, low emission, and how they are going to have a work plan for the for the next year, and the multi-decade plans towards 2050 that align with short-term climate actions and support a just, inclusive transition. But when we, as a part of climate change meeting, mm, and as an observer NGOs, we always feel that it is a uh, it is an unending thing, which you have to think about the net zero. Every person who is living on this world needs to make their own behavior, which will be going towards net zero. If every person on the earth, every industry, every city, uh, every sector thought how we are going to limit our carbon emission, then only we could achieve at least 50% of the commitments of net zero. Next. Some some nice initiatives and policy and legislation examples are here. They have enacted binding laws and policies. The countries like the UK's Climate Change Act 2008, EU's Green Deal and Climate Law targeting climate neutrality by 2050, Canada's Net Zero Emissions Accountability Act 2030, Emissions Plan, and others. Australia's Climate Change Act 2022 and accompanying roadmaps. Singapore's Carbon Pricing Act and policies for building sustainability. South Korea's Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth Act and emissions trading systems. These measures established long term goals, actionable roadmaps, institutional mandates, and accountability frameworks. But during, even if you go through this Climate Change Act 28 or this one, the Climate Change Act 2022 of Australia, they have not, means according to me, they have not thought about the inclusion of everything, and especially the population, the control of industry waste, the control on carbon emissions of road vehicles. Uh, the global warming, when we think about global warming, the use of air conditioners in the big buildings, the use of air conditioners at domestic levels will be increased in the next 10 years or so. Every year we need a lot of changes in the climate, and sometimes even though there is not a summer, but during those days also we have to start with the ACs. We have to start with the high high potency of the emissions, which we can't control. So next, just a moment. So international monetary standards and these sectoral technological innovations, we can see the energy and industrial technologies are they have to go, means you have to think about the fossil fuels, less use of fossil fuels, and emission of fossil fuels, and the nuclear fuels will be increasing in some years. So we have to transform all these things in renewable energies. See, the maritime organizations also have their own framework, and which will be shipping decarbonization every day, day by day or year by year. The travel means the goods transport, or anything which is going through the maritime from the sea level is also increasing. The pollution and all this the the traffic in the maritime organizations are really a big issue and challenge for this net zero targets. And especially when you think about you have to decarbonize your organizations, and you have to go for the complete the commitments for the net zero target. It is the whole transformation needs to be done, and for that transformation everyone have the major part of finance which is comes from the country to country. Next. So when you think about the corporate standards and accountability, I always think that what standards are the corporates are looking forward for climate change, for net zero targets, and for implementing the rules and regulations which is set by the Paris Agreement and followed by Glasgow. So this benchmarking will give the good scenario and will give the good guidance for the corporates. And this will be on the pillars, which is vision, trajectory, and roadmaps. So they need to complete their roadmaps that how they are going for the carbon emissions. The corporate standards are not only depend on the corporate social responsibilities which they are doing, but which needs to be every person at the every level which can be doing good for the net zero targets, and they are implementing their day-to-day schedule for that. For that they need to be have a climate governance in every organization, and it has to be organized carbon climate governance. Then the renewable energy sourcing will be the most effective part for the net zero targets, completing the net zero targets and controlling the carbon emission. Because the big organizations, big corporates, those who have a big buildings, they have to transform their all the electricities and everything in renewable energy equipments. When we the NGOs which are working in a green zone and making the world green, the corporates have to be give the maximum for making the environment, making not only the environment but the barren lands into green lands. See, now there is one program which is called, when I was working in United Nations, that program was started. But right now, through our NGOs, we are promoting that program. It's called as Greening the Blue. The greening the blue is for the sea level. The mangroves are also destroying, and which are a really bad thing to think about the nearby cities and the communities which staying near the coastal areas. So not only making the forest at the land level, the corporate should think about the making the blue into green. So making the getting the restoration of mangroves will also be a good thing for the corporate social responsibilities, and through that they can show their net zero targets, how it is implementing with their emissions and how they are controlling the emissions through the forestation, through the watershed management, through the community driven initiatives, and through the mangrove restoration. Next. These are some financial sector and investment, how they are working. We can see Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. This coalition includes over $130 trillion in a committed capital. Members must set science-based targets across all emissions, include interim 2030 goals, report transparently, and uh, align with UN Race to Zero criteria. Investor influence is investors representing trillions in assets are pushing major emitters like Total to set net zero targets, align capex, reduce carbon intensity, and advocate policies consistent with the Paris Agreement. This point is very important. See, when you are working for climate change and to fight the climate change, your every action have to be a environment oriented action. So there are many actions which you can adopt day to day basis, and the investors have to see whatever the investment they are doing for the climate actions. Voluntary alliances under pressure. Many banks have exited net zero alliance due to political and legal pressures, calling into question the durability and effectiveness of voluntary corporate commitments. See, this is a very sugar coated thing which the corporates are applying. So the political pressures, when you say about the political pressures, you have to think about that your organization will not be alive if you cannot achieve the net zero targets. The climate change is not only at our doorstep, it is now staying with us. It is in our home. Everyone, every person is fighting with the climate change, and it is really difficult when you are in your rat race, when you are in your day-to-day chores. Someone are working for the best of the environment, and those people, those who are not interested in looking for that, but I say that you do your business. No problem of doing a business. Everyone have their own interest, and especially the people, those who are working for the production, those who are working for the banks, they have their different targets. They need not to look after that, but they need to see that the investments are going, means the corporate social responsibilities and corporate funding uh, for the climate benefit has to be go in a very good way, and that way they can control their net zero targets for the company. Next, uh, global net zero commitments. There are many challenges of these commitments. The basically the weakness of current commitments and implementation gaps. What way the implementation gaps will be there? See, when the papers, means when we write a paper, we make a strategies that are very good. Making strategies and doing that, I mean, making it in a very good way is not a bad deal. But you have to implement the gaps between the writing the strategies, making the commitments, and the implementation. Somebody can take a pledge in the first day of the year. It's like our things which are we can say like, see, from this year I am going to start my exercise at 5 o'clock in the morning, and nobody turns back from the 2nd January. It's this kind of gaps are really bad for this net zero target. So what you are committing towards the net zero, towards your ambition, and towards the commitment of the organization of the net zero, which will be which has to be implemented 100%. That is the responsibility of every person. So everyone is just keeping quiet, that everyone thinks that our government have committed, so let's the government have to do, let's the government will complete the target. But how the government will complete, how these policymakers, if they have committed something, how they alone cannot do it. So to the key step for current for the these gaps to coming over with the gap for the implementation is a action plan. Next. So see, everyone now is looking for carbon credits. But the whole thing, which is we can see, is carbon credits are not the immediate action. Means every corporates, every people, every organization thought of they will plant the trees and they will get the carbon credits. It is not easy as that. At least the tree has to be grown 10 to 15 years old, and there has to be carbon sequestration rate into that, and then only the people get the carbon credits. And from my side, I always think that carbon credit, it's again again a greenwashing type of thing. Means I will emit the greenhouse gases in my industry. I can do whatever I want, and I can buy some carbon credits. This should not be. It's not. People should go to Kumbh Mela, and they will clear all their deeds, wrong deeds in their past. It's not that. The carbon credit is a good thing, or it shall be implemented in a proper way, so that the the every person who is in that chain will get benefited. So who are maximum greenhouse emission industries, they can regulate their emissions because of that carbon credit, and that carbon credits they can purchase from the farmers or from their own tree plantation. So when you are thinking about that, I will plant some trees and I will get the carbon credits immediately. It's not possible. Carbon credits are not that easy. First, you have to be a regulatory things in your own organization. Then, if you are planting thousands of trees, calculating with your emission and with the sequestration, but you have to give the benefit to the landowner, to the government, and then it is comes to you. So there is a source where you can start the regulatory requirements, and then you go for again how much carbon sequestration rate and how much you can get the credits. So when people are showing about the carbon credits, they are showing a good, very positive picture, and a lot of money are in it, but it is again a source of greenwashing. That's it. So the basically the emissions which you can avoid needs to do that, and then you can go for the carbon credits, offsetting carbon credits and accounting it. So these are the little bit of failures of the carbon credit program in Dubai climate conference. Even our Prime Minister of India, they have come up with the new green program for the farmers and for the industries. But that completing that green program and green initiatives, everyone needs to regulate their own greenhouse emissions. Next. Next. As earlier I told that we have a very extremities, we have extremities in our financial strata. Even though if you go to Mumbai or you go to Delhi, there are many poor people, those who are on the roads, they cannot even eat for a day. Once a day they can eat, and the others are so rich, they just waste their food. And this is a very small and simple example I'm giving you, because these are the extremities which we are experiencing every day since my childhood. So the minoritized communities and minoritized communities are the two parts of our inequities. So this needs to be structurized, but it is not anyone's. I mean, it is not anyone's job that you can structurize these communities and you can structurize these inequalities. So the whole world may be suffering from these inequalities, and India is the most. So when we think about working with this transition, we have to structure, and we have to give. Means when the government gives anything in free, People run for that. But uh, so many times it happens that those who are really needy, they don't get it. But those who are not needy, they go for the free of charge things. So these kind of things we have to think about. We have to think about, and we have to work on it. And these minoritized communities needs to be have a benefit of this. So if you are thinking about, if my organization or any other organization or any other country which will be submitting the plan for net zero target by 2030, it is impossible in next 7 8 years. But if you are thinking for the long term objects and long term facilities, long term long-term implementation, then it is possible. But it should not be like on papers everyone is talking about the net zero targets, because many people, they come up in last 2 3 years that we have completed our net zero target by today. So it's not possible. It is only possible for the small organization which has their roadmap, which have planted a small example is, if my organization, if we are thinking about, we are net zero, so we are net zero since long, because every year we at least plant 50,000 trees, and those are not the small saplings, those are the big trees. And that way, if we go for the carbon sequestration rate of ours, it is a huge. So these kind of things need to be think about and to make in your roadmap. Next, the sectoral technological gaps are, we talked about in the early phases also, that always be looking at it. You have to be connected to each other with this means the paperwork, the implementation, and the results has to be hand in hand, and then only you can try to avoid the gaps. Next, when see this everyone in the world go for the low hanging fruits. So when you think about the policy decisions, policy design, the policy design has to be like, it it should not be for the only for the low hanging fruits, or it should not be for any small community. It has to be for everyone, and the policy has to be designed like everyone can run, everyone can jump for that. Otherwise, the whole targets are again in a bad shape, and we will think about only thinking about the policy papers, and how we are making sure that our papers and annual reports will show that we are going for the net zero targets, and we have completed it much before. So next, when India committed that we will complete the net zero targets in 2070, they have come up with the huge programs at the country level, and especially with the solar energy. So this is a significant thing which we are coming up with the solar energy, and we have even right now also Maharashtra government is come up with the new solar program, and they are acquiring the village lands for making the solar projects for the whole community who was staying there. So they have pledged to develop 3,000 megawatt of solar capacity by 2023 and 24 to power its internal operations cleanly. So clean energy will be coming in 23 24, means it has already they have achieved a lot of targets for that. So this initiative sparks a crucial debate how to reconcile growing coal production with claims of net zero aspirations. Secondly, the scale of coal emissions vastly outweighs the carbon sequestration potential of forestry, underscoring the need for massive reforestation efforts to balance the impact. See, at one side, the solar programs are going very well, and the other side, the tree plantation is also going very well. But the problem is sometimes it comes, where is the land? The land is not that sufficient to complete the both the projects at the same time to for the net zero aspiration. But if we look at the energy sector, the India is improving in the solar transition, and they have invested a million of dollars for the solar transition. Next. So see, you can see clearly the graph that India renewable energy has scaled up from near zero to cover 100 GW in a decade, showcasing rapid adoption. Uh, the industry, the big industries, even the airports are now come up with the solar energies, and which is the best part of India, that Indian people can adopt it immediately and they start working on it. So we are the player in the global market, that we have an uh, we not have only one or two case studies. There are number of case studies where we have transformed for the net zero targets. Next. So what are the institutional needs we can see about that? The energy equity is the one, institutional gaps and sustainable momentum. It is we can say that it is deeply intertwined with socio-economic development and institutional capacity building. So the energy equity is addressing energy poverty, which affects hundreds of millions through equitable clean energy access and paramount for inclusive growth. So we are in a when we talk about the solar energy, we are really working on the wind energy also. Even there are hydrogen energy we are making, and we are developing for that for the hydrogen energy. So we people, the Indian people, are really in a good shape for completing their net zero targets. We have a clean energy ambition. The people and industries, the big industries are on their clean energy targets. So next, so in between when I talk about our extremities of financials, is you can see easily the map below poverty line, middle income group. So this middle income group is the main pillar of Indian economy. That is what my understanding. And the low income, these are the few extremities we can see. But the middle income group people can more focused. They can adopt the things which have come through the policies. And when I work in my NGO, I always feel proud about the industries, the big industries, who are really working for the betterment of environment. They are looking after the communities, and the way they are helping with their finance is phenomenal. So uh, so looking at all these means, if we can see the things which they are doing for the communities and for the environment, they will definitely survive with the net zero targets. Next. The opportunities and vision arts, this is the normal scenario of net zero journey of every country. But India's net zero journey is more to close to my heart. So these the opportunities and the innovations which are coming up in Indian scenario with the young people, with the researchers, and with the people those who are really want to be work in a sustainable way. they have the global leadership, and they can work in that. But for that, we can see that the global leadership is the main criteria. And the second one is green job creation. The green jobs are, I mean, every industry have to have the green department where the sustainability and innovations will get start. And I'm proud that I know many companies, they are running a very nice innovative projects. And if they don't have understood that what to do, they come and they ask to the people, those who are working in the sustainable way. And the holistic approach is also needed. Strategic focus on climate resilience, ensuring a just transition, and developing international cooperation are essential for long-term success. We have all these three. We are working for the sustainable cities. We means India. We are working for the community resilience, and then the climate resilient cities, and we are transforming into the waste into energy. We are trying to modify and trying to innovate the new ways which can help to the municipalities, which can help to the villages, which can help to the communities, where they can adopt for the green jobs, they can adopt a new technologies, they can adopt a new way to go and reversely migrate in their villages. And the last one, we can see the conclusion next. The conclusion of this journey is a little bit complex and crucial too, but it is not impossible to reach to the target of net zero. So India's commitment to net zero represents more than just an environmental target. It is transformative pathway that balances economic growth with climate responsibility. India's resolve signals a beacon of hope for a sustainable future and solidifies its role as a key player in global climate leadership. So we can say success hinges on overcoming coal dependence, securing massive financing, and strengthening institutional frameworks. So India right now in a good position for achieving the net zero target. But for that, everyone, especially the big industries, especially big developing sectors and developed sectors, and the finance has to be come hand in hand with the government, and then only we can achieve the net zero targets for which we have set for ourselves. Thank you. If anyone have any questions, kindly go ahead.
Thank you, Doctor. Uh, Thank you for an insightful session that not only demystifying sustainability, but also showed us how net zero is not just a target, it's a business imperative. I'm sure our members are already thinking about the role they can play in this transformation. So we have a few questions for you.
Mhm.
Okay, let me begin. So first is, when we look at India's 2070 net zero goal in the backdrop of global timelines, where do you see our biggest trends and perhaps our unique challenges compared to developed economies?
No, I have lost the second or third sentence.
I'll repeat the question.
Yeah.
When we look at India's 2070 net zero goal in the backdrop of global timelines, where do you see our biggest strengths and perhaps our unique challenges compared to developed economies?
See, the developed economies are, I'm very sorry to say, but those are very hypocritic economies. So they never come up with their own targets which they have set, and they already declared that we are we have completed our net zero targets. So for India, as I told you before, also the India have a very uh, long, I mean, extremities are too much. There are many people, those who are using coal today. There are the villagers, they go for the small kind of chulhas, and they work for that. So looking at this, and those who are the richest people, they also don't think of making their emissions low. Means if we can go in any five-star hotels, you see there are shivering cold just because they put the high ACs 18 degrees centigrade. So if you can set your AC at 25, everyone will become on on the sustainable thing. But we never thought of that. We people just want to have our own own scenarios and our own things. See, every household have 4 5 cars, and everyone take one car and they go. These all small things also matters
Absolutely.
at the government level, at the industry level. I'm staying in Pune. There is one part which is called as Hinjewadi, which is the IT sector. So going for the company, they have buses. Company have buses facilities, but still every person takes his car and go, and the whole road is get blocked. Every city is like that because people doesn't understand to go by public transport to means these kind of things are emissions and all are every means the global scenario is not different than any other country and any other India. Everyone are sailing in the same boat. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the next question. With the increasing focus on ESG, what are the best practices for carbon accounting in India? Are there specific frameworks like greenhouse gas protocol that CA should be familiar with? And what are the challenges in ensuring the accuracy and verifiability of this data for financial reporting purposes?
This is the this is the responsibility of every CA. The social standards they have to set. There are standards which have set for the greenhouse gases and greenhouse emissions reports, but the reports have needs to verify that on ground which have is the work done. And if not, see the chartered accountants, what they do, they just ask questions because it's not their fault, because they are sitting in somewhere and they are asking the questions that whatever they want to absorb from that. But the in between, those people, those who are implementing their ESGs, they need to give the exact data for that, and that for that the evaluation is very important, and the chartered accountant who are doing that reports needs to visit that place. That's always my suggestion to every chartered accountant, that they have a long means the MNCs, those have a long many chartered accountants are working over there, so they can go and they can visit. Need see make and believe, make to believe, and believe to make. That's the difference of those standards. And really there are many things which I can't tell because of some restrictions. But see, the reporting standards have to be set with the evaluating standards, and the evaluation is very important. It should not be on papers, it should be on the sites. Yeah.
Uh, Next question. As CA, we are keenly interested in financial side of the things. Can you elaborate on the cost benefit analysis for Indian companies transitioning to net zero? What are the typical capital expenditures and how do these investments impact the company's bottom line in the short or long run?
It's a very difficult question. I mean, it's not difficult means to answer. If any company send me their balance sheet and the production and what kind of emissions they are doing, then I can tell that how can they can come overcome with this overcome and reach the net zero targets. Because when you think about the finances, see, if you want to absorb the carbon which is emitted with the big industry, they need to be work on greening the lands, and especially the 25 years old trees can only absorb the carbon through their emission. So they need to plant the trees nearby their industries, and not any industry is ready to do that because they just want to expansion for their buildings and their production. But no one is thinking about that how much kind of trees they have to plant, how much kind of sustainability standards they need to go for. And plantation is the only source which can be absorb the carbon. There are some practical things, I mean, not have implemented till yet, but there are some things which the examples that they can get the carbon, and they can put it in the land, in the pipelines, and they put it in the water, means in the sea water and all. But that is not the implementable or impact, that means that is not the authentic method. And especially if that carbon is goes in the water, then again the problem of the sea, I mean the life of the sea creatures and everything. So it's a vague thing which which you can't say that this much of finance you require. It should not be like that. It's a day to day practice, and only 2% of profit will not be the source of achieving the net zero.
Okay. The next question. How can CAs beyond traditional financial audits add value to the company's net zero journeys? What new skill sets or areas of expertise, such as sustainability assurance or carbon credit validation, should CAs develop to remain relevant in this evolving landscape?
See, I mean, the technically any CA could not be go through with this. The question you have asked, very nice question. But any CA, you means for the environment, social audit, and the normal audit. The person who is doing all these things, he needs to be a little bit generous. Then only he can set the standard for the social audit and the impact of the net zero targets and the impact of the I mean the social impact which the industries have done in their corporate social responsibilities. Means it's not only that they are doing, see, there are 4 5 verticals of every company where they are working with their 2% of profit, like education, greening the lands, plantation, water source. So water source is also one of the good thing which can be achieved for the net zero challenges. Every land and every villages have the water sources, but those are now dumping grounds. And that's why again the pollution, the things, the plastic and everything is coming up. But all industries are stick now only to plant the trees. They don't see how to conserve it. Every year they just put up money in that. So the chartered accountants and the auditors needs to ask them ki, Baba, means the last year you planted 10,000 trees. One company may say that we have planted 10,000 trees, but will they conserved for this year? But for the next years, are you putting some money in it, or you are just planting? So only plantation is not the source of achieving the net zero. There has to be conservation is the main criteria for that. And that kind of things na, the chartered accountant should be think about, and they need to raise the questions on it. Otherwise it's a normal annual report with the nice scenario and with the glorious effect of their plantation.
Oh, okay, the next one. So if you had to bet on a few sectors achieving net zero earlier than others, what would they be and why? Which sectors? No, difficult to say.
Not means net zero is, see, if you have only 3 people organization, any organization have a 3 people only, then the emission is very less. And if they are doing some social work like plantation or any community resilience, plastic waste management, and then they can say that we can achieve the, even I can say my NGO is achieved a net zero target 10 years back. Not even that time is a set it, because we have planted, we have means we have developed 35 forests till today. And that maybe if we can calculate that things for our own benefit, then I can say. But it is not like that. Means I have to think when I doing this social environmental work, I have to think about the other people, that from which company I am taking the money.
Yeah.
So their emission, my office emission, and every day, means I'm using the vehicle, I'm
Correct.
using the car, I'm using the two-wheelers, my office is using the two-wheelers, I'm wasting the water, we are using air conditioners. So all those things, if you can calculate, then nobody is coming to the net zero target earlier.
Okay, got that. Yeah. Okay, now next one. We often hear about green bonds, climate funds, and blended finance. How critical do you believe green financing will be for India's net zero pathway?
This is a greenwashing type. Everything is kind of a greenwashing, that I am doing this, I am doing some kind of emission in a big way, and I am getting it in Ganga's Dubki with all these things. So I am doing then I don't use the plastics going out. I don't waste. I mean, zero microgram plastic. What say that? The small, very small plastic, we don't use that. But that's not the source of the thing which you have emitted every day or in your day to day life. So it's a very complicated and crucial thing. You can't beat to anyone that any person is working for net zero target, but he cannot achieve that. Net zero target is like a, the mrugajal, means it's a kind of in the arid countries, we just go running through and we can see somewhere the water source is there, and we are just running after it, but we can't get it. That kind of thing is a net zero targets.
Now, with MSMEs being the backbone of our economy, but resource constrained, how can we integrate them into the zero net targets without overwhelming them with compliance costs?
Everyone needs to be have a compliance criteria. But MSMEs are doing, I mean, MSMEs are have not set with this CSR kind of thing, no, because they are small in profit. But then we have to come with the low bars. Means the standard of CSR needs to be get little lower, and we can tell them that this may not be your profit ratio for the employee, I mean, implementing the CSR, but they need to be give some of the criteria that that way they can work, because MSMEs are the big portion in India, which
Yes.
they can they can transform a lot of things. So there has to be some we can say that under the green initiative or the green finance, they need to put some of the things, some of the finance for their own benefit, we can say, means to show them that this is for your own benefit. And but see, getting the finance or getting the funding, one has to be make these as a rule. Otherwise, nobody can do that. Means it is always, means they can say that we do for our own thing, but for the society there has to be some rule and policy.
Okay. Now the next, coming back to the policy that you're talking, from a strategic perspective, what are the key government policies or tax initiatives in India that are effectively driving the net zero commitments? And conversely, are there any potential carbon taxes or regulatory disincentives on the horizon that companies should be prepared for?
No carbon taxes. I haven't heard about it till today about the carbon taxes. But the government have taken a nice steps for this ESG and CSR things. So the net zero targets means they have see this country level and the highest level of the industries or the big industries. They have already started implementing for like solar projects in a big solar projects. PSUs are working on it. Then these petrol pumps and ONGC and those kind of PSUs, they are implementing a lot of things which with the government for completing the challenges of net zero targets. When you see about the strategies which are being implementing by the government, they are initiated with the green jobs and the green initiatives which are taking at the grassroots level as well as at the industry level. So I don't think it is very difficult to anyone. Even the MSMEs can also adopt those things by the big industries and all. But see, the people are really are means the whole world and the whole community. Means the people are really uh, selfish. They don't think about the future. They're very small that I need I want a 1000 crores profit this year. So these are the targets they have already set for their industries, and because of that the government needs to make a penalties for that. So there are some penalties on the environmental basis. Many companies, those who are putting their waste in the rivers and all, they are they have the penalties, and they have to complete the penalties for that, and they need to be start with the good behavior. So these policies and these implementations by the government are now or on forefront.
The next question is, India's economy is heavily reliant on certain high emission industries. Now, what are the specific sectoral challenges and strategies being adopted to help these industries, such as manufacturing or transportation, achieve their net zero targets without compromising economic growth?
Compromising economical compromise may not be essential for them, but see, when if you curtail your movements, the transport sector, how can curtail their movements? The transport sector or any right now I gave some maritime industrial examples over here. The every transport sector have a lot targets. Now also, even you can see a very small example, even you can see at our household, every 1 hour our bell is ringing and somebody is over there, Blinkit, Swiggy or Porter. So the people are sitting at home. They don't go away, maybe, but the transport is there going on all the time. So then there has to be. I mean, sometimes I feel that during the corona, it was a very bad patch of our life, no doubt about it. But the whole world was closed. So I suggest, and I suggested to PMO and all also, that one day has to be all things needs to be closed, means total lockdown for one day in a 1 month or 2 months. That will be helping to everyone to curtail their movements. Means during the corona time, we have realized and we have learned that there is a very small things which we need to survive. But once it is over now, means immediately after the lockdown, then there was a second wave. Immediately after that, only 1 year, people were quite scared and they were at home. They don't go unnecessary. But now it's not possible. Everyone just want to go away. So the going out is not the way, but the industrial transportation, the goods going here and there. So if we can think about that, only one day in twice in a month, once in a 2 months, if we lock down the whole India, it will definitely get benefit and we can go towards the net zero target earlier.
I hope so. Okay. Now next one. Businesses often fear that sustainability targets may hurt short-term profits. How can the company strike a balance between immediate financial realities and long-term climate goals?
There are sustainable development goals which have make the standards from the United Nations. So the financial criteria and the net zero targets are totally a little bit of different. Means if you are doing the means if this the when if we can think about the solar kind of industries, they have already set with this net zero, means they don't have any challenge for that, because there is not a long, means if there is a emission in their industries, but they are giving a good things to the society. And if you can implement and you can analyze those things about the emission and giving the means controlling the emission with the other industries, it will go hand in hand. So the financial standards for the maximum emitted industries are different, and industries which are working for the environmental goals are different. And those can be I mean they can again, this is a greenwashing. Means if you have a partnership in this kind of things, two companies are coming and they say that this is my financial report and this is my analysis, then you can see that those both are at the equal level.
Now the last question. Sustainability efforts often face uncertainty when government's priorities shift. What steps can be taken to ensure policy continuity for climate commitments?
Policy, see, government have a lot of policies. Hmm? They have targeted green initiatives. They have started with the greening the blue. They have started with the greening the urban barren land. They have started with the means the village level lands into solar land, and they have to make a mega power stations over there. But who are the implementators? The society. So and means, not only in India, all over the world, the government and the politicians are busy with their own politics. So they they don't go for the policy implementations. They make the policies, and those who are the IS officers, they are making the policies. And the politicians and the ministers level, they are not looking at it absolutely. They are thinking of their own chairs before the net zero targets. So their target is their chairs. So that is not the thing that we can think about it. The politicians do whatever they want, but the policy makers, means those who are the sitting in that chair, who are making the policies, they need to see the how it is going to implement it at every level. The NGOs which are working for the policy and for changing the policies need to try to get the some policies have to be changed, because see, our forest policies maybe, or the animal policies are since the British era, and those have not changed yet. So the easily, means if I want to grow the forest in forest land, first of all, there is not a forest land now remaining. It has already sold to some mafias or something, and which is remaining, the forest people are not interested to give it. So if I am going after them to get the land, I will go die. But if you go at the village level, it is very easy, because there is a gairan always where the cows and all. So they can give the papers for the 3 years, 4 years immediately, and then you can grow. But if you think about the forest land, so because there are a lot of things to be completed as the documentation, and which is really impossible to anyone. So we need to change those policies. The water policies, the pollution policies needs to change. Means right now, I tell you, this is the off the record. There are many developers, builders. hmm, They have punished right now because they have violated the rules of the trees falling and all those things. But the pollution control board doesn't know that whatever they will implement for their, means whatever the punishment they gave them, that plant the trees, then make something to curtail the pollution, decrease the pollution, then make some rallies for water source, or make some get some water source. But some companies, they are coming to me, I said that making some water source, that means you don't dig the bore wells. Borewell is not the source of water. Otherwise, it won't be in next few years. There will not be any water source now. So the pollution control board even doesn't know how to rectify these mistakes. They just give the violation and they ask for so many things to do. And then these the developers and these pollution control boards, they are fighting with each other. We have completed this and that, but they have some bank guarantees and in crores of rupees. So everyone is after that money. So that developer is also showing some small greenwash things, and then he go after for their his bank guarantee. So this should not be happen. That the policies needs to get change. A smaller changes means if we are implementing the 150 years back policies, we need to change now as per the scenario. So that has to be implemented. And my really, I whenever I talk to the ministries and all, I always say that please change those policies, try to change something on it. Means putting the new rules on it, it's not the way to complete your net zero targets.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor, for those valuable perspectives. It's clear that achieving net zero is not a distant dream, but a journey that will require policy clarity, financial innovation, and professional commitment. Thank you so much. Now I
Thank
would
you.
request CA Chandni Dedia to present a vote of thanks to the speaker.
Thank you. Okay. So on behalf of Sustainable Reporting Standard Board of ICAI, I extend my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us today for the enlightening webinar on net zero commitments, strategies, challenges, and Indian case studies. Your participation has been instrumental in making today's session a success. A heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Vinita Apteji, for sharing her deep expertise and practical perspective on the pathways to achieving the net zero. Her presentation has helped us better understand not just the strategies and framework, but also the real world challenges business faces in translating the commitments into the measurable actions. The Indian case studies discussed today have given us concrete examples of how ambition can meet the implementation. The discussions that we had this afternoon reinforce the fact that the net zero is not just a target, it's a journey that requires innovation, collaboration, and a relentless focus on accountability. It's clear that the road ahead will demand collective efforts from corporates, policymakers, and professionals alike. Thank you, everyone. We invite all participants to join us for our upcoming webinar scheduled for Thursday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., where we'll be continuing exploring cutting edge topics in sustainability reporting and best practices. Once again, thank you for your active engagement and thoughtful contributions. Your dedication to advancing sustainability practice is invaluable, and we look forward to your continuous involvement in our ongoing initiatives as we collectively pave the way towards a more sustainable and resilient future.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tech support, go offline.